The journey has only just begun.
Hello everyone, I'm the Major Game Collector. This time, we'll be looking at the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
Collector!
Yes, Pasty, what is it?
Where's my waffles?
Your waffles? Oh, that's right, you like waffles. Alright, Pasty, I got your waffles. Pasty, pick those up.
Can't you warm them up?
Fine, Pasty, give them to me. Pasty, here's your waffles.
No syrup.
Fine, give them back. Alright, Pasty, there's your waffles, there's your syrup. Can you sit down like a normal person so we can look at these games? While he eats, let's look at our first game. We'll begin by looking at The Lord of the Rings Volume 2 for the PC. Just as in the books and movies, the game is divided into 3 stories. First Aragorn, then Frodo and Sam, and then finally Merry and Pippin, before jumping back to another story. Though for this, I will cover each one independently, starting with Aragorn in the fields of Rohan, searching for Merry and Pippin. It is not long before we have our first set-piece moment, when they meet up with Gandalf. From here, the party makes its way to the city of Edoras. In Edoras, there's another set-piece moment when they go to speak to King Theoden. You will notice here, and other times, it will say, see a paragraph and a number. What it is referring to is in the manual. On the steps of the dais before the chair sits a wizened man, with a pale, wise face and heavy-lidded eyes. They remain still and silent as you approach. One last thing to see in Edoras is on a side quest. The party does run into Saruman. He really doesn't do anything. The Battle of Helm's Deep is overly simple, with just a few groups of orcs to fight off. Afterwards, the party moves to the Tower Orthanc, which by now the battle is over. From here, they seek to destroy Saruman. However, there is no battle, and their journey ends fairly quickly. Now, for Merry and Pippin's journey, there's not much to say. Most of the time, the pair are just wandering back and forth through the forest, either looking for someone, or doing a quest for Treebeard. After all of that, they come to Isengard and their quest is over. Sam and Frodo start here near the river. Now, one thing there's no explanation for is how they escaped the Witch King from the first part. Quickly, we run into Gollum. Once captured, obviously, he comes with us. Once in the Dead Marshes, there's not much to see. There's a building here, but like the marshes, there's not much of interest here. Once out of the marshes, the party is surrounded by a group of men of Gondor. Showing them the file given to him by Galadriel, they are taken away. The only thing of note here is the set-piece moment when Frodo has to retrieve Gollum. Afterward, the journey can continue. Just outside of Mordor, the party encounters the Witch King. Escaping the Witch King, the party comes to the mountains, and fortunately for them, there are stairs leading up. After a long climb, we come to a cave. Once inside, it's not long before Gollum vanishes. Further in, Gollum reappears, then Frodo disappears. Now we must fight Gollum. Once defeated, the real enemy appears, the creature known as Shelob. Using the file given to them by Galadriel, it causes Shelob to depart, thus ending the adventure. So there we have The Lord of the Rings Part 2. Although the game here mentions that there will be a Part 3, unfortunately, Part 3 was never made. Pasty, what are you doing with that syrup?
Nothing.
Give me that!
But he talks to me!
Give me that, freak. Well, anyway, Pasty, what did you think of the game?
Terrible. No waffles.
Pasty, everything doesn't have to have waffles.
Yes, I must have games.
Tell you what, Pasty, while we look at the second game, I'll get you some more waffles.
Excellent.
So, without further ado, our second game. Next is The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers for the Game Boy Advance. When the game begins, you can choose between 5 characters to play as. There are not much difference between most of them, since they all follow a similar path. So we'll start with Gandalf. The game begins as a flashback to Moria. I already extensively covered Moria, so I won't do it again here. After the scene with the Balrog, instead of jumping into the forest, instead we must follow the creature. The lower levels of Moria are not much different from the upper levels. Reaching the Balrog, he puts up one heck of a fight, one in which you are more likely to go down first. Once vanquished, Gandalf laments his destruction. It's all less dramatic than in the movie.
Until at last I threw down my enemy and smote his ruin upon the mountainside.
Now reborn as Gandalf the White, we appear in the forest to have a set-piece moment, when he rejoins Aragorn. From here, the adventure continues on to Helm's Deep. However, there will be plenty more of that later. Now let's look at Eowyn's adventure. It begins with her speaking to Theoden. From here, she takes up the quest to find the king's son. Just like with the other characters, They throw just as many orcs and other creatures her way. Eventually, she comes across her brother and 2 soldiers just waiting for her. Reaching the village, the villagers, or at least this one lady, agree to help. Then the village is attacked by orcs. Once it seems that they are all gone, reinforcements show up. It is at this point that the difficulty ramps up. Instead of just plain orcs, it's full of the Uruk-hai. Once defeated, the village is saved. Speaking to Theoden, they are all leaving for Helm's Deep. For now, we will move on. So, Pasty, so far, what? Pasty? Where did you go? What the? I should have known that's where he'd be, playing Call of Duty again. Alright, Pasty. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Alright, Pasty. Let's see how you like it when I make a mess out of you. Oh, and while I go take care of this, here's a word from our sponsor. Say, what's the matter? You got a dirty magic ring? Uh-huh. Do you know what you need? Why, you need Major Co's soon-to-be patented magic ring cleaner. Yes, it's Major Co's soon-to-be patented magic ring cleaner. Comes with everything you'll need to clean even the filthiest ring, including the magic ring cleaning fluid and all-natural cotton towel. Use the cleaner to get rid of all kinds of things, including blood, orc drool, dirt, and many more. Just look at that shine. This can all be yours for the low, low price of just $99.95. That's right, just $99.95. But wait, if you order now, you'll receive this handy, versatile flashlight. Perfect for finding your favorite game in the dark, finding your keys, and even for taking out the taken. What are you waiting for? Call now. So, Pasty, did you learn your lesson? And Pasty, why don't you take Mr. Scratch I have more reviewing to do. Oh, and Pasty, don't forget to give him his catnip. We'll now look at one more character, Frodo. Frodo's adventure begins much like Gandalf's, in that it begins with Moria. Since this game is based on the movies, it follows along the same path to where he separates from the Fellowship. Once across the river, Sam and Frodo come to the mountains outside of Mordor. There's nothing to see here but more orcs. Once in the dead marshes, they come across Gollum and naturally capture him. Once again, the marshes are unremarkable. Once we're through, we are now in Mordor. And again, the area of Mordor is bland and repetitive. Something actually happens once we reach the Black Gate. Gollum points Frodo to another path to get in. Eventually, we reach an area where Sam wants to rest. Gollum is not in sight. Further down, he is surrounded. Once we begin, we are left to fight on our own. Once defeated, Sam and Frodo are now surrounded by men of Gondor, who take them away. This ends Frodo's adventure. Now that that's out of the way, we can move on to our final game. Finally, we have The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers that was available for the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and the GameCube. For this video, we will be looking at the GameCube version. It opens by showing the opening monologue of the first movie.
Great rings. 3 were given to the elves, immortal, wisest, and fairest of all beings.
It then melds into the first scene where he plays a seal goal.
Kill them all!
This stage is meant more as a tutorial to introduce the controls.
Ringwraiths! Get back!
From here, the game flashes back to Weathertop to when Aragorn had to protect Frodo from the Nazgûl. It is after this point that we have the option to choose our character. For this video, I'll actually only be using Aragorn. As expected, it does feature Moria, however, it jumps ahead by showing footage from the movie.
And enter Melon. We now have but one choice. We must face the long dark of Moria. We have
Picking up in
gates.
Balin's tomb,
Run.
the Fellowship is attacked by orcs.
We cannot get out. They are coming.
Just like in the movie, there's also a troll to take care of. Not only that, this will be the first of many fights with trolls. Fighting the troll starts off easy enough, but can be quite difficult. Once defeated, the story continues as expected.
I would have gone with you to the end, into the very fires of Mordor. Go, Frodo.
Run! Frodo carries the fate of us all. We must defend him.
What's left of the Fellowship must now protect Frodo so that he can escape. Unlocking and utilizing the many combos available can make all the difference here. Not only do we have to defeat all these orcs, there's even a set time limit. Now the game moves into new territory when the party enters Fangorn Forest. Overall, compared to the previous area, it is not that hard until we reach the end. Here we have to face off not one, but 2 trolls. The next couple of levels take you through the villages and areas of Rohan.
We are not alone in defending Rohan. The King's Guard were also fighting through to Helm's Deep.
From here, we move on to the main set piece of the game, Helm's Deep. It starts off by showing more footage from the movie. As for the actual game, it splits Helm's Deep into 3 parts, each more difficult than the last. The first part has you running along the wall, knocking down ladders, and defending against the orcs, who have scaled the wall. Compared to what's ahead, this level is actually quite easy. After several waves of orcs, the level ends.
They have fallen back. It is over for now.
Now we must defend the gate from orcs. It actually starts off fairly easy, with a few orcs here and there, then they throw groups of them at you. There's even another troll. If that wasn't bad enough, for their final assault, they bring in a catapult. Now the hard part, We have to destroy it and defend against orcs and protect the gate. Even worse, it has two sides. Once destroyed, the real test of patience can now begin.
Women and children are safe for now.
Now in the courtyard, we must defend the main gate from an endless wave of orcs. Fortunately, we are not alone this time. Overall, though, the AI characters don't do much. About halfway through, Legolas calls to you to help defend against some orcs that have scaled the wall. So we have to stop what we're doing and run up to help him. Not long after that, we are overtaken by archers. So then we must again run up the wall to take out the archers. If defeated, we have to replay the entire level all over again. So there we have the games based on the two towers. Well, that's it. I'll see you all again when we do part 3.